Radhe Radhe,
Radhe Radhe,
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Vino Bihari Mandir, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupa Anuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Patit Pavana Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Hari Naam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrind ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Oh, Shri Madhav Titi Ekadashi ki jai.
Hey Janardhan, I'm glad you're here. We've missed you. I hope you're well. Dandavat Pranam, all Vaishnavas.
Dandavat Pranam. So, as usual, we will begin with the auspicious invocation, Mangalacarana, calling on the grace, the mercy, the presence, the sidelong glances of our beloved Gurudev, our Srila Prabhupada, all of our Rupa Anuga Gauriya Guru Varga, Shri Nityananda Prabhu, Shri Sachinandan Gaura Hari Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, going all the way back to the original Guru who is Krishna himself and his Guru of Prem, Srimati Radhika. Radhikar Prema Guru Ami Shishya Nata. So that will be on page 1 of this beautiful bhajan treasure trove, Shri Gauriya Gita Gucha, Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam. Oh. I'm glad you're feeling a little better, Janardhan Prabhu. Make sure you drink a lot of water. Make sure you get the rest you need. And take care. Try to avoid getting other symptoms. They're not fun. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavashta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangscha Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayanitti Namine Shri Krishna Leela Katane Sudaksham Audarya Madhurya Gunaischa Yuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tam Shirashan Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanincha Shri Krishna Padabjadutaika Hriddi Chaitanya Leelamrita Sarasaram Narayanam Tam Satatam Prapadye Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Gaura Presthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Keshava Yutti Namine Ati Martya Charitraya स्वश्रितानां च पालिने जीवदुःखे सदरतायो श्रीनाम प्रेमदायिने नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वतीति नामिने श्रीवर्षभानवी देवी दयिताय कृपाब्धये कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञानोदयिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वलप्रेमाध्यो श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्तिविग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुगव्यरुधापसिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद्वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसम्बोधे पदम्बुजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगब्बरायते गौराविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्टसजनप्रिय वैष्णवः सर्वभौम श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतोपङ्गो मम मन्दमतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदम्बोजो राधा मदनमोहनो दिव्यद्वृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमद श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवो प्रेष्ठालिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भि वंशिवत्ततस्थितः कार्षन्मेनुस्वनैर्गोपीनाथ श्रियस्तु नः वृन्दाये तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निनिर्वापनं श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दम्बुदिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम् हरेर्नाम हरेर्नाम हरेर्नामेव केवलं कलो नास्त्येव 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 गतिरन्यथा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। दंडवत प्रणाम all Vaishnavas. Now we will go to page 360. Gurudev Kripa Karke Mujhko Apanalena, calling out for the mercy of Sri Gurudev. गुरुदेव कृपा करके मुझको अपना लेना। गुरुदेव कृपा करके मुझको अपना लेना। मैं शरण परा तेरी, चरणों में जगा देना। मैं शरण परा चरणों में जगा देना। चरणों में जगा देना। चरणों में जगा देना। गुरुदेव कृपा अपना लेना। गुरुदेव कृपा करके मुझको अपना लेना। करुणा निधि नाम तेरा, पार लगा देना। मेरी नाव हमर डोले, उसे पार लगा देना। गुरुदेव कृपा मुझको अपना लेना। गुरुदेव कृपा करके मुझको अपना लेना। तुम सुख के सागर हो, भक्ति के सहारे हो। तुम सुख के सागर हो, भक्ति के सहारे हो। मेरे मन में समाये हो, मुझे प्राणों से प्यारे हो। मेरे मन में समाये हो, मुझे प्राणों से प्यारे हो। मुझे प्राणों से प्यारे हो, मुझे प्राणों से प्यारे हो। नित माला जपूं तेरी, मेरे दोष भुला देना। नित माला जपूं तेरी, मेरे दोष भुला देना। गुरुदेव कृपा करके मुझको अपना लेना। गुरुदेव कृपा करके मुझको अपना लेना। ओ मैं संतों का सेवक हूँ, गुरु चरणों का दास हूँ। मैं संतों का सेवक हूँ, गुरु चरणों का दास हूँ। नहीं नाथ भुलाना मुझे, इस जग में अकेला हूँ। नहीं नाथ भुलाना मुझे, इस जग में अकेला हूँ। इस जग में अकेला हूँ, इस जग में अकेला हूँ। तेरे द्वार का भिखारी हूँ, नहीं दिल से भूला देना। तेरे द्वार का भिखारी हूँ, नहीं दिल से भूला देना। गुरुदेव कृपा करके मुझको अपना लेना। गुरुदेव कृपा करके मुझको अपना लेना। ओ जय गुरुदेव, जय गुरुदेव, जय गुरुदेव, जय गुरुदेव। ओ जय गुरुदेव, जय गुरुदेव, जय गुरुदेव, जय गुरुदेव। ओ जय प्रभुपादो, जय प्रभुपादो, जय प्रभुपादो, जय प्रभुपादो। ओ जय प्रभुपादो, ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Guru Parampara ki jai. Hare Krishna. Now we're going to call for the mercy of the Vaishnava. Kripa Karo Vaishnava Thakur, page 40 by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Kripa Karo Vaishnava Thakura, Kripa Karo Vaishnava Thakura, Sambandha Janiya Bhajte Bhajte, Sambandha Janiya Bhajte Bhajte, Abhimano Hao Duro, Abhimano Hao Duro, Sambandha Janiya Bhajte Bhajte, Abhimano Hao Dura, Abhimano Hao Dura, Kripa Karo Vaishnava Thakura, Kripa Karo Vaishnava Thakura, Ami to Vaishnava e buddhi hoile, Amani na hobo yami, Ami to Vaishnava e buddhi hoile, Amani na hobo yami, Pratishtha shoyasi Hridoyo dushive, Pratishtha shoyasi Hridoyo dushive, Hoibo niroyo gami, Hoibo niroyo gami, Pratishtha shoyasi Hridoyo dushive, Hoibo niroyo gami, Hoibo niroyo gami, Kripa Karo Vaishnava Thakura, Kripa Karo Vaishnava Thakura, Tomaro পদজল রেণু সদা নিষ্কপটে ভজি সদা নিষ্কপটে ভজি তোমার উচ্ছিষ্ট পদজল রেণু সদা নিষ্কপটে ভজি সদা নিষ্কপটে ভজি কৃপা করো বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর কৃপা করো বৈষ্ণব নিজে শ্রেষ্ঠ জানু উচ্ছিষ্টাদি দানে হবে অভিমান ভার নিজে শ্রেষ্ঠ জানি উচ্ছিষ্টাদি দানে হবে অভিমান ভার তাই শিষ্য তব থাকিয়া সর্বদা তাই শিষ্য তব থাকিয়া সর্বদা না লইব পূজা কারো না লইব পূজা কারো তাই শিষ্য তব থাকিয়া সর্বদা না লইব পূজা কারো না লইব পূজা কারো কৃপা করো বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর কৃপা করো বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর অমানি মানদ হইলে কীর্তনে অধিকার দিবে তুমি অমানি মানদ হইলে কীর্তনে অধিকার দিবে তুমি তোমার চরণে নিষ্কপটে আমি তোমার চরণে নিষ্কপটে আমি কাঁদিয়া লুটিব ভূমি কাঁদিয়া লুটিব ভূমি তোমার চরণে নিষ্কপটে আমি কাঁদিয়া লুটিব ভূমি কাঁদিয়া লুটিব ভূমি কৃপা করো বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর কৃপা করো বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर प्रभु कृपा करो मोरे दया करो कृपा करो मोरे दया करो प्रभु कृपा करो मोरे दया Vaishnava Thakur ki Jai. And now we will call for the mercy and grace of Srila Rupa Goswami. Hari He Shri Rupa Gosai by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, based on the 8th verse of Upadeshamrita, page 199. Hari He Shri Rupa Gosai. Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki Jai. Hari He Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Rupete Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Hari He Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Rupete Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Jano Moro Katha Namero Kangalu Roti Pave Namo Gane. Jano Moro Katha Namero Kangalu Roti Pave Namo Gane. Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Rupete Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Hari He Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Rupete Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Krishna Namo Rupa Guna Sucharita Paramo Jatane Kori. Krishna Namo Rupa Guna Sucharita Paramo Jatane Kori. Rasana Manose Karo Nijo. Rasana Manose Karo Nijo. Krama Vidhi Anusari. Krama Vidhi Anusari. Prabhu He Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Rupete Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Hari He Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Rupete Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Braje Korivas Raganuga Hoya Smarano Kirtano Koro. Braje Korivas Raganuga Hoya Smarano Kirtano Koro. Enikilla Kalo Karo Japano. Enikilla Kalo Karo Japano. Upadesha Saro Dharo. Upadesha Saro Dharo. Shiksha dila moro kane Hari He Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Rupete Shiksha dila moro kane Harupa Gosai Doya kori kave dibe dine brajavasa Harupa Gosai Doya kori kave dibe dine brajavasa Ragatmika tumi Tava padanuga Ragatmika tumi Tava padanuga Hoite dasero yasha Hoite dasero asha Hari He Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Shiksha dila moro kane Hari He Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Rupete Shiksha dila moro kane Jano moro katha na mero kangalo Rati pave namo gane Jano moro katha na mero kangalo Rati pave namo gane Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Rupete Shiksha dila moro kane Hari He Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Rupete Shiksha dila moro kane Rupa Goswami Prabhu Rupa Goswami 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 Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki Jai Shri Shad Goswami Prabhu ki Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai. As today for us is Ekadashi, I don't know how it is everywhere, depending on where you are in the world, when your sun has risen, and what time Ekadashi has begun. But today's Ekadashi, so we will sing Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Anukul Madhavatiti Bhakti Janani. It's page 216 here by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. If you do not have this beautiful bhajan treasure trove, Shri Gauri Giti Gucha, you may refer to the post of Jiva Pavana Prabhu. Jiva Pavana Prabhu very kindly posts the bhajans in the comment section of the thread, along with their translations, and frequently followed by beautiful commentaries of our acharyas. So thank you, Prabhu, for that. Fasting for Shri Kamada Kadashi. And this Ekadashi is a special Ekadashi. They're all special. Ekadashi is Ekadashi, but Ekadashi grants different things. Each Ekadashi grants something particularly, you can say, unique. And most people follow Ekadashi for some karmic benefit, karma kanda. Without being under the guidance of pure devotees, they follow Ekadashi, but our Gurudev said, without being under guidance and praying for bhakti, then what they will get is the result of their karmic desires. So the result will be karma for them. But those who understand that Ekadashi is bhakti janani, she nourishes or gives birth to bhakti for Krishna in the heart, then they will understand that Ekadashi in essence is non-different from Krishna, and that we should serve Ekadashi just as we would serve Krishna, jatane palana kori. Jatane palana kori. Just as we would serve Krishna, very, very carefully. And if we honor Ekadashi, if we serve Ekadashi, if we welcome Ekadashi, respect Ekadashi, then also the result, instead of being mundane, especially if we understand the transcendental gift that she gives, the result will be bhakti, the nourishment or the awakening of bhakti in our hearts. This is particularly kama da bhakti. So kama means desire, and da means gives. So really it fulfills your desires. But we are not after any material kam, or we should not be. We should be after transcendental kam. Hridroga, the material disease of lust, kama, in this world is what binds us here. But to somehow or other dovetail that toward Krishna, with the desire to love and serve Krishna by the medium of all of our senses, that is perfection. And so there are two different aspects of kama-anuga bhakti. There is sambhog ichamai and tat bhav ichamai, or ichatmika. So sambhog means those gopis who meet with Krishna personally. And then there are those who assist and support those who meet with Krishna. In other words, what Mahaprabhu came to give by the medium of Rupa Goswami, Rupanuga Bhakti, is particularly this tat bhav ichatmika bhakti. It's also kam, transcendental love, but it is exclusively to increase Krishna's transcendental happiness by arranging for the beautiful meeting of Radha and Krishna. Jaya Jaya Radha Krishna Jugala Milan. So this Ekadashi, we can pray to that Ekadashi to awaken that kind of tat bhav kamanuga bhakti in our hearts. What is the significance of singing this bhajan for Ekadashi? We always do, because the second verse in here, it's actually all of the things, or so many of the things that are favorable for bhakti. And so if we're doing so many things that are favorable for bhakti and remembering them, then in essence when we are praying, also Ekadashi can grant these things for us. But specifically the second line, Madhavatiti Bhakti Janani Jatane Palanakori Krishna Vasati Boli Parama Adare Boli. Madhavatiti means the time periods of the Lord. Titi means time. So what are the time periods? Janmashtami, Gaur Purnima, Narasingha Chaturdashi, Ram Nomi, etc. And every 2 weeks, even more merciful than all of those other days, Ekadashi. So carefully observing these holy days, such as Ekadashi and Janmashtami, very carefully, Jatane Palana Kori means with great care and attention we will uphold these vrats, these holy days. Bhakti Janani, because they give rise or birth. Janani means mother, and Bhakti is love and devotion for Krishna. So it is the mother of love and devotion for Krishna. By serving and observing these days, Bhakti can be awakened in our hearts. Krishna Vasati. Krishna resides in these days. He dwells in them. So, Krishna Vasati, Basati Boli. Now, this is interesting. Basati Boli, Parama Adare Boli means Krishna resides there, and so I will also reside there with Krishna. So, very carefully observing these days. So, every Ekadashi, it's been part of our vrat, you can say, since we came to our Gurudev, to always sing this particular bhajan written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Shuddha Bhakata, Charana Renu, Bhajana Anukul. Shuddha Bhakata, Charana Renu, Bhajana Anukula. Shuddha Bhakata, Charana Renu, Bhajana Bhakata Seva Parama Siddhi Premalati Karamula. Bhakata Seva Parama Siddhi Premalati Karamula. Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula. Madhavati Thi Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori. Madhavati Thi Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori. Krishna Vasati Vasati Boni Paramayadare Bori. Krishna Vasati Vasati Boni Paramayadare Bori. Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula. Gaurayama Jesabasthane Karala Brahmana Range. Gaurayama Jesabasthane Karala Brahmana Range. Se Sabasthana Heri Boyami Pranayi Bhakata Sange. Se Sabasthana Heri Boyami Pranayi Bhakata Sange. Mridanga Vadya Shunite Mono Avasara Sadaja. Mridanga Vadyo Shunite Mano Avasara Sada Jache. Gaura Bihito Kirtana Shuni Anande Hridoyo Nache. Gaura Bihito Kirtana Shuni Anande Hridoyo Nache. Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula. Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula. Jugala Murti Dekhiya Mora Paramayananda Hoya. Jugala Murti Dekhiya Mora Paramayananda Hoya. Prasado Seva Bolite Hoya. sakala prapancha jaya prasada seva kurite hoyo sakala prapancha jaya jedin grihe bhajano dekhi grihete golok bhayo jedin grihe bhajano dekhi grihete golok bhayo charan sidhu dekhiya ganga sukona sima payo charan sidhu dekhiya ganga sukona sima payo tulasi dekhi jurayo pran madhav to shani jani tulasi dekhi jurayo pran madhav to shani jani gaura priyo shako sevane जीवन सार्थक मानि गौर प्रिय शाक सेवने जीवन सार्थक मानि भक्ति विनोद कृष्ण भजने अनुकूल पायो जाहा भक्ति विनोद कृष्ण भजने अनुकूल पायो जाहा प्रति दिवसे परम सुखे स्वीकार करो ये ताहा प्रति दिवसे परम सुखे स्वीकार करो ये ताहा शुद्ध भक्त चरण चरण रेणु भजन यानुकूल भक्त सेवा परम सिद्धि प्रेम लतिकार मूल भक्त सेवा परम सिद्धि प्रेम लतिकार मूल शुद्ध भक्त भजन यानुकूल शुद्ध भक्त चरण रेणु भजन यानुकूल माधवती जय एकादशी जय माधवती जय एकादशी जय माधवती जय एकादशी माधवती जय एकादशी वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर वैष्णव ठाकुर जय वैष्णव ठाकुर श्रीमद्भक्ति एकादशी की जय. And of course, now I cannot sing this bhajan without seeing that line, Gaura Priya Shaka Sevane, Jivana Sarthakamani, when I honor Shak, which we don't do, interestingly, on Ekadashi, which is very dear to Gaura. I consider my life successful. Well, Shak, varieties of leafy greens, are very dear to Mahaprabhu. So when one is taking his remnants, of course, their life would be successful. But Sudevi was telling us, who said fortunate spinach? Vrindavan Das Thakur was speaking about the fortunate spinach. Because, well, it is favored by Mahaprabhu. So I think of fortunate spinach. Okay, now we will call for the mercy of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. पतित पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। Boro Sukher Khabor Gai, page 164. In the happy tune, because actually I am singing singing news of great happiness. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, glorifying Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakata Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakata Vrinda Baro Sukher Khabor Gai Baro Sukher Khabor Gai Baro Sukher Khabor Gai Baro Sukher Khabor Gai সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাট খুলেছে কোদনিতায় সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাট খুলেছে কোদনিতায় মোজার কথা থায় বড় মোজার কথা থায় বড় মোজার কথা থায় বড় মোজার কথা থায় শ্রদ্ধা মূল্যে শুদ্ধা নাম সে হাতেতে বিকায় শ্রদ্ধা মূল্যে শুদ্ধা নাম সে হাতেতে বিকায় যত ভক্ত বৃন্দাবসী ভক্ত বৃন্দাবসী যত ভক্ত বৃন্দাবসী যত ভক্ত বৃন্দাবসী অধিকারী দেখে না বেছে দ্বারকাশী অধিকারী দেখে না বেছে দ্বারকাশী যদি নাম কিনবে ভাই নাম কিনবে ভাই যদি নাম কিনবে ভাই নাম কিনবে ভাই আমার সঙ্গে চলো মহাজনের কাছে যায় আমার সঙ্গে চলো মহাজনের কাছে যায় তুমি কিনবে কৃষ্ণ নাম কিনবে কৃষ্ণ নাম তুমি কিনবে কৃষ্ণ নাম কিনবে কৃষ্ণ নাম দস্তুরি লইব আমি পূর্ণ হবে কাম দস্তুরি লইব আমি পূর্ণ হবে কাম বড় দয়াল নিত্যানন্দ বড় দয়াল নিত্যানন্দ বড় দয়াল নিত্যানন্দ দয়াল নিত্যানন্দ শ্রদ্ধা মাত্র লয়ে দেন পরময়ানন্দ শ্রদ্ধা মাত্র লয়ে দেন পরময়ানন্দ একবার দেখলে চোখে জল দেখলে চোখে জল একবার দেখলে চোখে জল একবার দেখলে চোখে জল গৌর বলে নিতাই দেন সকল সম্বল গৌর বলে নিতাই দেন সকল সম্বল দেন শুদ্ধ কৃষ্ণ শিক্ষা শুদ্ধ কৃষ্ণ শিক্ষা দেন শুদ্ধ কৃষ্ণ শিক্ষা জাতি ধন বিদ্যা বল না করে অপেক্ষা জাতি ধন বিদ্যা বল না করে অপেক্ষা অমনি চারে মায়া জাল অমনি চারে মায়া জাল অমনি চারে মায়া জাল ঝারে মায়া জাল গৃহে তা থাকো বনে থাকো না থাকে জঞ্জাল, গৃহে থাকো বনে থাকো না থাকে জঞ্জাল। আর নাইকো কালির ভয়, নাইকো কালির ভয়, আর নাইকো কালির ভয়, আর নাইকো কালির ভয়। আজ চন্দালে দেন না মিথ্যায় দয়াময়, আজ চন্দালে দেন না মিথ্যায় দয়াময়। ভক্তি বিনোদা কি কয়, ভক্তি বিনোদা কি কয়, ভক্তি বিনোদা কি কয়। নিতাই চাঁদের চরণ বিনা আর নাহি আশ্রয়, নিতাই চাঁদের চরণ বিনা আর নাহি আশ্রয়। বড় সুখে খবর গায়, বড় সুখের খবর গায়। সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাত তুলেছে খোদ নিতাই, সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাত তুলেছে খোদ নিতাই। নিতাই 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 হে, 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 নিতাই 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 হে। গৌর হে নিতাই হে, গৌর হে ও নিতাই হে, গৌর হে নিতাই হে, গৌর হে। पति पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम सचिनंदन गौर हरि की जय। गौरांग बोलिते हवे पुलक शरीर, हरि हरि बोलिते नयने बबे नीर। Page 86. गौरांग बोलते हवे पुलक शरीर, हरि हरि बोलते नयने बबे नीर। गौरांग बोलते हवे पुलक शरीर, हरि हरि बोलते नयने बबे नीर। আর কবে নিতাই চাঁদে করুণা হইবে, সংসার বাসনা মোর কবে নিতাই চাঁদে করুণা হইবে সংসার বাসনা মোর কবে তুচ্ছ হবে বিষয় ছাড়িয়া কবে শুদ্ধ হবে মন কবে হাম হেরাব শ্রী বৃন্দাবন বিষয় ছাড়িয়া কবে শুদ্ধ হবে মন কবে হাম হেরাব শ্রী বৃন্দাবন রূপ রঘুনাথ পদে হইবে আকুতি কবে হাম বুঝব সে যুগল তীরে রূপ রঘুনাথ পদে হইবে আকুতি কবে হাম বুঝব সে যুগল তীরে রূপ রঘুনাথ পদে রহু মোর আশ প্রার্থনা করো এ সদা নরোত্তম দাস রূপ রঘুনাথ পদে রহু মোর আশ প্রার্থনা করো এ সদা নরোত্তম দাস গৌরাঙ্গ বলিতে হবে পুলক শরীর হরি হরি বলিতে নয়নে বাবে নীর গৌরাঙ্গ বলিতে হবে পুলক শরীর হরি হরি বলিতে নয়নে বাবে সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি জয় সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি নিতাই হে গৌর হে নিতাই হে গৌর হে নিতাই হে গৌর হে নিতাই হে গৌর হে জয় রূপ রঘুনাথ রূপ রঘুনাথ রূপ রঘুনাথ জয় রূপ রঘুনাথ জয় রূপ রঘুনাথ রূপ রঘুনাথ রূপ রঘুনাথ জয় রূপ রঘুনাথ श्री सचिनंदन गौर हरि की जय श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय श्री रूप रघुनाथ जी की जय Mm-hmm. Vande Girivara Dhara Pada Kamalam by Govinda Das, page 346. Vande Girivara Dhara Pada Kamalam Vande Girivara Dhara Pada Kamalam Vande Dhara Pada Kamalam Vande Girivara Dhara Pada Kamalam Kamalam Lanchita Mamalam Kamalam Lanchita Mamalam Vande Girivara Dhara Pada Kamalam Vande Girivara Dhara Pada Kamalam Vaja Vajrankusha Pankaja Kalitam Vaja Vajrankusha Pankaja Kalitam Vajavanita Kucha Kunkumalanitam Vrajavanita Kucha Kunkumalanitam Vande Girivara Dhara Pada Kamalam Vande Girivara Dhara Pada Kamalam Manjulamanilu Purarama Niyam Manjulamanilu Purarama Niyam Achapala Punaramanikamaniam Achapala Punaramanikamaniam Vande Girivara Dhara Pada Kamalam Vande Girivara Dhara Pada Kamalam Atirohitama Tirohita Bhasham Atirohitama Tirohita Bhasham Madhu Madhupi Krita Govinda Dasam Madhu Madhupi Krita Govinda Dasam He, Krishna 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 He. Shri Krishna Kanhai Lal Ki Jai, Radha Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Jai Radhe Krishna Govinda, page 154. I remember the first time I heard this, and I won't be able to do justice, but I think I was in Fiji on the Big Island, and Krishna Das Prabhu sang it, and I was just like, wow, that is beautiful. I loved it. It's in the section entitled Shri Nam Kirtan. One second. Okay. Maybe some of you will recognize it from the CD of Manjari Didi. Of course, she's an amazing singer. But Jai Jai Radhe Govinda, Shri Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Jai Jai Radhe Govinda, Shri Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Jai Jai Radhe Govinda, Shri Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Jai Jai Radhe Govinda, Shri Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Shri Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Shri Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Jai Jai Shyamo Sundaro Madhavaro মদন মোহন বৃন্দাবন চন্দ্র জয় জয় শ্যাম সুন্দর মদন মোহন বৃন্দাবন চন্দ্র জয় জয় রাধারমণ রাস বিহারী শ্রী গোকুলানন্দ জয় জয় রাধারমণ রাস বিহারী শ্রী গোকুলানন্দ জয় জয় রাসেশ্বরী বিনোদিনী ভানুকুল চন্দ্র জয় জয় রাসেশ্বরী বিনোদিনী ভানুকুল চন্দ্র ও ললিতা বিশাখয়াদি যত সখী বৃন্দ জয় জয় ও ললিতা বিশাখয়াদি যত সখী বৃন্দ জয় জয় রাধে গোবিন্দ শ্রী রাধে গোবিন্দ রাধে গোবিন্দ রাধে জয় জয় রাধে গোবিন্দ শ্রী রাধে গোবিন্দ রাধে গোবিন্দ রাধে শ্রী রূপা মঞ্জরি জয় শ্রী রূপা মঞ্জরি there's a word missing. There's supposed to be another manjari before ananga. Jai Jai Shri Rupa Manjari Rati Manjari Manjari Ananga Jai Jai Shri Rupa Manjari Rati Manjari Manjari Ananga Jai Jai Purnamasi Joga Maya Jaya Vira Vrinda Jai Jai Purnamasi Yoga Maya Jaya Vira Vrinda Jai Jai Radhe Govinda Shri Radhe Govinda Radhe Govinda Radhe Jai Jai Radhe Govinda Radhe Govinda Radhe Govinda Radhe Sabe Mili Koro Kripa Ami Oti Manda Sabe Mili Koro Kripa Ami Oti Manda Tomar Kripa Kori Deho Jugo Charonarobinda Tomar Kripa Kori Deho Jugo Charonarobinda Jai Jai Radhe Govinda Shri Radhe Govinda Radhe Govinda Radhe Jai Jai Radhe Govinda, Shri Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Jai Jai, Radhe Govinda, Shri Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Shri Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Shri Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Jai Jai, Radhe Govinda, Shri Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna. वृषभानुनंदनी श्रीमती राधा ठाकुरानी की जय, श्री कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय. And now we have come to that time, a very special time, where we will call out in that mantra which is known as Prematma, because it awakens Prem within the Atma. It is the greatest of all mantras, because not only can it fulfill any desire, but Nama Chintamani Krishna. It is non-different from Krishna, and yet Krishna has invested all of his transcendental potency within it. So that special mantra we know as the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Calling for the mercy of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. O Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your loving service. I am yours, I am yours. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada. Shinitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo Srila Gurudev Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Rupanu Guru Varga Ki Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Madhavati Tekarshi Ki Jai Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktāya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnanatimirādhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayanitti Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitti Namine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurung Dinatarinam. Dandavat Pranam, all Vaishnavas. So first of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam, my obeisance, thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashto Tarshata Shri Srimad Shri Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashto Tarshata Shri Srimad Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga, Gauriya, Guru Varga, and to all of the Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe, Radhe, Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Shyam. So today, we are continuing with Shri Ram Leela. As you all know, one day is insufficient, 2 days is insufficient, 3 days is insufficient, all time is insufficient in order to be able to glorify the Lord. So taking a few days to touch on some of the points that we have heard is, well, par for the course. I remember reading from Srila Prabhupada, he was saying, why only 7 days Srimad Bhagavatam? We know that Maharaj Parikshit only had 7 days, and Gokarna maybe only 7 days. But Bhagavatam doesn't say 7 days, Prabhupada said. He said, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Forever, always, eternally, serving and glorifying the glories of the Lord in relationship with His devotees. So I consider it a great fortune that we're able to go more deeply into the pastimes of the Lord, the pastimes of Krishna, in the form of Shri Ram. Our Srila Gurudev told us, and I've told this before, but I'm going to tell you again in case there's any others or in case you didn't remember. And I like to repeat because then I remember more clearly every time I speak it. So we were in the house of the devotees, Janaki and Mukesh, whom Srila Gurudev initiated and told, you are Ram Bhaktas. So when he gave her Mahamantra, he told her that she should be thinking of Sita and Ram. For us, we should be praying to Radha and Krishna and thinking of Radha and Krishna. So we were in their den. Just as you enter into the entrance and you take a left, There was a very small room with some seating, a little piano there, one of those wall kind of pianos. And Gurudev was sitting there, and it was Janaki, Mukesh, and Sudevi, and myself. And Srila Gurudev, first, he looked at them, and he told them, you should be very careful. He said, Krishna, so attractive, so sweet, so charming, so beautiful. He is a heart thief. It's like he was made for stealing hearts. If he sees anything sweet, any sweetheart, immediately he will want to steal it. So you should be very careful. He said, if you ever see any picture or form of Krishna, you should only address him as Ram. O Ram, you have appeared in such a beautiful form as Krishna. Jai Ram, Jai Ram. And then he looked at us. And he said, oh, and you should be very careful. He said, Ram, he's so beautiful, so charming, so handsome, so soft, and so heroic. Immediately your heart will want to run to him. He said, so if you ever see any picture or murti of Ram, you should only address him as Krishna. Oh Krishna, you've appeared in such a beautiful form as Ram. Jai Krishna, Jai Krishna. And so in that small private conversation, he was teaching us one-pointedness, exclusivity toward our own Ishtadev. He didn't try to change her swarup. He didn't look at her and say, oh, you're a Ram Bhakta, let me turn you into a Manjari of Radhika. No, in fact, she was worshipping, Janaki was worshipping Radha Krishna and Gaurnitai. And Gurudev immediately recognized, he said, you are not a Krishna Bhakta, you are Ram Bhakta. And she said in her heart, she was like, oh, thank God, like this, because it just wasn't connecting for her. But he immediately recognized it. And then when she took initiation from him, he gave her the name Janaki, which is the name for Sita, the daughter of Janak Maharaj, Janaki Dasi. And then he personally installed the most beautiful Sita Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman in their house, like this big, really beautiful. So he installed them. And when we were doing kirtan, he told us, because I was chanting Hare Krishna, he said, we're calling Ram, Sita Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman, say their names. And as I was chanting Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram, Gurudev turned around and looked at me at a certain point. And he's like, Jai Jai Lakshman, Jai Hanuman, like that. That's why I sing it. Because Gurudev looked at me and told me exactly what to do at that point in time. And so Gurudev was showing in this that he wasn't changing her swarup. Gurudev said, never, never, and never. Guru doesn't make you into something different than what the nature of your soul is. He only awakens what is within your Atma. So I just wanted to share that. In terms of us speaking about the pastimes of Ram, those who are in the line, you could say, or in the path of Krishna Bhakti, who have naturally been attracted to the path of Radha Krishna Bhakti. When we hear the pastimes of Sri Ram, we should understand Keshava Drita, Rama Sharira, Jai Jagadisha Hare, O Krishna, O Keshava, you've appeared in such a beautiful form as Ram. Jai Krishna, Jai Krishna. And we will relish the pastimes of Ram according to our relationship with our Ishtadev. Our Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj explained that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was very fond of remembering and speaking about Ram Lila. And what does Krishna hear when he's going to sleep? What lullabies does his mother tell him? What small stories does she tell him as he's going to bed? Oh, she's telling him Ram Lila. Sometimes he becomes very upset and he jumps up and he's like, Lakshman, bring my bow. So Krishna gets this kind of mood as well when Yashoda is telling him that Ravan kidnapped Sita. Krishna is hearing his own katha.
He even told the gopis, I'm that Ram. And then he had to prove it.
That's true. Krishna told the gopis, I am that same Ram. And they're like, really? Prove it. He's like, I can build a bridge. You know, when you're looking down from Charampahari, that very high one, toward Lukluki, because you're looking that way. There's one lake, and it's Setubandha. So the gopis said, prove it. So Krishna, by his potency, he played his flute.
All the monkeys
And
came.
he has like a special code for the cows. He calls cows with his flute. He calls cowherd boys with his flute. But only according to the code, only that kind of personality comes running. When he plays for the gopis,
Mother Yashoda falls asleep.
everyone else is asleep. Only the gopis hear their own names. Their hearts are being stolen and they run. In this case, Krishna was able to call all the monkeys. And they came and they built a bridge of stone across this little lake. So Krishna was trying to prove, and they're like, what does that prove? You only built a little bridge across a lake.
It only proves that you're friends with monkeys.
It only proves that you're friends with monkeys. Ram built a bridge across the entire ocean to Lanka. So many beautiful pastimes. But there's so much intertwining as well. What kind of intertwining? So many of the reasons that Krishna appeared in this world were because of interactions that happened at the time of Ram Leela. He also was feeding monkeys. Why? And crows. Why was Krishna feeding monkeys and butter? And why was he feeding the crows butter and yogurt? Because he couldn't adequately support all of them or pay them when they were doing the service of assisting him. Reciprocate, that's what I mean. Means, as one serves me, I reciprocate accordingly. So he felt inadequate in his ability, so he wanted to serve them. So as Krishna, he was feeding the monkeys by his own hand. He was feeding them butter. So the pastimes of the Lord are innumerable. And some of the most heart-touching, heart-rending, tear-evoking pastimes of the Lord you will find in the histories, in the pastimes of Sri Ramchandra. Our Gurudev used to watch and listen and weep for hours while hearing these beautiful pastimes. So we know that Sri Ram, Sita, Lakshman, Hanuman, they were also in Navadvip Dham at Mamgachi. And at that place where they were present, Ram was sitting there once, smiling. Sita asked him, why are you smiling? He said, later on I will come here and you will also come here. I will manifest as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Sachinandan Gaura Hari, and you will manifest as my consort Vishnu Priya. And then I will take sannyas. And she began asking, why will you take sannyas? Because this is the pastime of the Lord. And he said there's two sides of love. One is meeting and the other is separation. When one is in sambhog, in meeting, then you forget all of the other aspects. You just are consumed with that meeting. But when one is in a state of separation, then they remember all of the meetings simultaneously. So in that separation, there's also acute form of meeting. So you cannot remove one from the other. Both are there. Vipralambha, separation, and sambhog, meeting. There's two main aspects of love. And in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is the main aspect that he took shelter of, this vipralambha or viraha, separation aspect, to understand how to love and serve Krishna in the mood of separation. And this is what he also gave to this world. As Srila Govinda Maharaj would say, he's opened a crying school. So through this process he's teaching us, and through Ram Leela we will be able to also weep incessantly for the Lord and his beautiful pastimes. Did you want me to say anything else before you begin today?
No, not yet.
Okay. So now I would like to call Sudevi forward to continue speaking on Ram Leela. Hare Krishna. I think you can do it better. Oh, it's open.
Well, let it go, sir.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah, it'll work just fine.
Okay. Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas.
Radhe, Radhe.
Radhe, Radhe.
Radhe.
Radhe Sham. As Kishori Mohan Prabhu was just speaking and he was remembering Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj, I was remembering that once I was listening to a lecture of his and he said, Sri Nardu Vacha, and then he said, oh Baba, oh this is big, this is very big. Nardu Vacha. He said, if we will speak on just this point right here, Sri Nardu Vacha, for 3 days, 3 times a day, and for 3 hours each time, then maybe we can come soon to the verse. And I was like, wow, I would have,
27 hours.
I would have gone past that. Sri Nard said, okay, now move on. But who is Nard? And Sri Guru is speaking, the Tattvadarshi is speaking. That glorification is so awesome, so vast. How can you put just Sri Narduvacha and keep going? He was like, this is big. And I thought, wow, that's extraordinary. How our Guru Varga enter into the Shastras and they go so deep into this beautiful ocean and bring so many extraordinary jewels that we wouldn't even be able to see without them revealing it to us. So on that note, I just want to say that I've gotten a couple messages that devotees would like or wondering if I'm speaking certain things and all these different details. First of all, I want to say I don't know anything, but what I have heard from my Guru Varg and what I have directly read in Sri Ramayana and also Ramcharitamanas, those are the only things really that I'm speaking. Even if I hear other devotees tell beautiful things, I can go and research it and find where it's come from. But until I see that there is verification of it, I don't like to repeat it. So
you need praman.
I need praman. Not that it's not true. Not that there aren't so many millions of reasons why Krishna wouldn't appear after Ram. There might be so many moods and so many bhavs within his heart. How would I know? But what I've heard from my Gurudev especially and our Guru Varg, those are the things that I feel very confident to share. And the things that I've read, I have 2 Ramcharitamanas and I have 3 different versions of the Ramayana, of Valmiki's Ramayana. And everything that is coinciding and going together, those are the things I'm trying to repeat.
And that are aligned with Gurudev's
And especially those things that are in line with Gurudev's Harikatha. So please forgive me for my own inadequacies. I'm not a seer. I'm not a Tattvadarshi. I'm only trying to repeat the beautiful moods and revelations of our Gurudev, our Guru Varg, and what I have been able to slightly touch, just so minutely come close. So please forgive me ahead of time for leaving so much out. Also, there may be moments where I forget names or I tell something ahead of time because I'm fallen and I need help. So if anybody is there, like especially Rudra or Krishna Premavati, they can, or Sonam, yes, you guys, anyone. If I'm making any mistake, Jiva Pavana Prabhu, Govinda Rupini Didi, and Punya and Devaki, please let me know. And if I miss something, you can write it. I don't generally look down, but if I'm making mistakes, I'll try.
Also, I'd like to add one point. If you see the lectures of our Srila Prabhupada, of our Srila Gurudev, of Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, of Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, of any of our Guru Varga, they don't tell everything in one class. They will touch on so many different points. And even if they were to tell everything, it still would not be everything. So it's not necessary to tell every single detail. This is not how they have done it either.
Yes, we're trying to go deep, but we can only go as deep as we can swim, which isn't very deep. So the other thing I wanted to begin with is that yesterday I did make a big mistake. Yesterday I said that when Sri Ram saw the Karan Dushan and Trishul, Trishir, like three-headed. Trishir was coming, and with their 14,000 Rakshasa warriors. At that time, I said that was when Sri Ram told Sita, now you should leave the Chaya Sita, the Mayak Sita here, and you should hide. You should enter into Agni, and Agni should protect you. This was wrong. He didn't do that until after Surpanak came, and they cut off her ears and nose, and then Ram was inspired, and I'll bring that up, but I just wanted to let you know that I made this mistake. I told it too soon. He didn't do it at that time. Also, I left out something really important. When Sri Ram was going to all of the hermitages, and he was going and visiting all of the rishis, one day within the Dandakaranya forest, he saw a huge, pile of all kinds of bones. And Ram looked at it and he couldn't even understand. He said, what is that? And they said, oh, Ram, that is the skeletons of all of the rishis, of all of the sages that the Rakshasas have killed and eaten. It's explained in both Ramcharitamanas and Valmiki's Ramayana that Rakshasas would take the form of deer, very beautiful, gentle deer. And of course, the sages wouldn't be afraid of them. And then when they could come close, they would immediately expose who they were, and they would devour them, eat them. So this was going on, and Ram became so distressed. Tears came to his eyes, and he made a vow, I will destroy all of the Rakshasas. I will kill all of them. So this is one of the reasons why he told Lakshman, you go and you hide, you take Sita with you. I have made this vow. This is for me to take on. You didn't do this. This is for me. But besides that, more important to me than anything is Sita. So take her and guard her with your life.
I wanted to make a point in this connection. So many bones were there of rishis and sages who were not only yogis, but were also bhaktas, who were doing austerities. In other words, just because someone is a devotee, it does not mean that their body won't be separated from their soul. It happens all the time. It happens every single day, and devotees should not fool themselves into thinking that just because I'm a devotee, my body cannot be separated from my soul. It has happened in the past millions and millions of times, and it will happen in the future millions and millions of times. And so just because someone is a bhakta or a sage or anything like that, it does not mean that there won't be separation. What we heard yesterday was quite amazing, that they weren't attached to their bodies. As soon as they were able to have darshan of Ram, then
that's
they realized,
what they were attached to.
This is my success. Now I can separate this soul from this body and continue. And so they would actually self-immolate or anything like that, now that I have had darshan of Ram.
What more?
But the idea of that, oh, because I'm a devotee, because I'm a Vaishnava, so death won't separate this soul from this body, that idea is ludicrous. And especially, we should not think, I am a Vaishnava. Anyone who thinks I am a Vaishnava is actually not a Vaishnava, according to the bhajans of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So one should have great humility and also be careful about being a pretender.
Thank you. It's very important. And also we can see that for the Leela of the Lord, so much suffering has gone on. And we read in Jaiva Dharma, why does this world exist? Oh, because the Lord needs a place to give His Kripa. Those who are liberated, those who are His eternal associates, they don't need His mercy. We know that Krishna is continuously running after the mercy of His beloveds. So they're not searching for His mercy. It's us. Well, they are. But it's us. We are the ones who are in need. We are the ones suffering. And in essence, so that Krishna has a place where He can distribute that mercy, especially in the form of Sri Guru and Vaishnavas.
we should understand also that everything exists exclusively for the pleasure of the Lord. And in order for him to manifest these amazing pastimes, like Ram Lila and Krishna Lila or Varahadev or Narasingha, it's necessary that his devotees are enduring a lot of difficulty. And so after some time, like Prahlad, Hiranyakashipu tried to kill him in 1,000 different ways. So many are enduring so much difficulty. But they see it as either this is my karma, something that is due to me, or the mercy of the Lord. They understand. No, they understand this point very clearly. But we shouldn't think that, oh, Krishna is just coming to save this body. He's not coming to save this body. He's not attached to the maintenance of the body connected to the soul. It doesn't affect him. So this idea also, we should be careful about superimposing this idea onto Bhagavan. If we have to be separated from our bodies millions of times so that Krishna is satisfied, then that is the function of this Atma and these bodies, to please Krishna. To come to that understanding and that realization,
Wow.
That's a little bit difficult, but we should see in all of these leelas that so many are enduring so much difficulty. All of those sages in the forest were enduring so much difficulty at the hands of the Rakshasas, who would just surprise them, kill them, eat them, maim them, harass them constantly for so many years before Sri Ram arrived. So this is all so part of the Lord's Leela.
Actually, Ravan was so horrible. He wanted to make.
Is covered.
He wanted to make all of the demigods weak, and one of the ways he was able to do that, is that better?
Yeah.
One of the ways he was able to do that was that he was stopping all sacrifices. He was stopping the carrying of the cows, the pouring of ghee and the oblations. And so that's why he was sending Rakshasas out to go and disturb anyone who was doing any kind of penance and then doing yajna, so that they would become weak and he could easily defeat them. So we see that so much trouble was brought to everyone, but petitioning the Lord, he rained down his mercy. He himself appeared in this world. So yesterday we heard up to the point where Surpanak, she had her nose and ears chopped off and she ran to her 3 brothers, Kardushan and...
She ran to Kardushan after she had her nose and...
Well, yeah, why do you think they came to fight with Ram?
Okay.
So, and what's his name? Trishir. So, when she saw that they were completely defeated, she saw their army of 14,000 powerful Rakshasas all killed. Or they killed each other, as we heard. They saw that Ram was next to them, and to each of them, and they were calling out, "It's Ram, Ram, Ram," and killing each other. Because Ram is the Lord of Maya. So she became completely disgruntled. She thought, now I will have to go to my brother, Ravan. She went to Lanka, which is a beautiful golden city, made out of gold and gems. And Ravan was so powerful. He was so extraordinarily beautiful. It says that he was shining like thousands of suns. He had scars on his body of wounds that he received in battle. Even the thunderbolt of Indra, there was a scar from that. And from his elephant, the tusk of Indra's elephant, he had these immense scars on him. But he was so beautiful. If you will read, especially in the Ramayana, how Hanumanji sees him, even Hanumanji is shocked at his beauty. Wow. And he even starts to think, if only he was a bhakta, if only he was a devotee. He was so extraordinary, so beautiful, so knowledgeable. He knew Shastra. He knew how to sing. He knew how to... he made the violin.
They said Ravan invented the violin.
So that he... Yes. So he was extraordinary in all ways. It is said that he had the benediction of having 10 heads and 20 arms. Generally, I've read that he displays that during battles. That would be scary, wouldn't it? 20 arms and 10 heads. So Surpanakh, she goes there and she sees her brother. And what's he doing? He's drinking. He's relaxing. He's with so many thousands of beautiful women. And Surpanakh has just witnessed the entire devastation of her other brothers' armies, and they've all been killed. She's there, she's crying, she's bleeding. Her nose and her ears have been chopped off. And she looks at Ravan, and she begins to actually chastise him. She says, "What are you doing? What kind of king are you? You've become lazy. You're not watching over all of your kingdom. Do you know that just recently, 2 humans, they destroyed and killed our brothers, Kar, Dushan, and Trishir. She just single-handedly, Ram killed them. And their army of 14,000 Rakshasas. And here you are, enjoying with your women. You've become weak." And she was goading him. And Ravan started becoming upset. And he said, "Who did this to you? Who chopped off your nose and ears?" She said, "It was the 2 sons of Dasarath, king of Koshala, who are wandering fearlessly in our forest." And then she said, "But one thing with them," because she knew there's something that Ravan can't control, and that is his lust. She said, "They have such a beautiful creature with them, the wife of Ram. Her name is Sita." She said, "Even though your favorite queen, Mandodari, she is so excellent, so beautiful. She is the topmost, even amongst thousands of princesses, and even those apsaras who you have brought to your palace. This Sita is more extraordinary, more beautiful, more enchanting than thousands of them."
Wow.
Ravan became somewhat, his ears perked up. Wow. So he started to boast, "I will go there and I will kill them. I will kill those 2 princes and I will take her as my own." In Tulsidasa's Ramayana, though, it says that after he boasted to her, to Surpanakh, and told how he was going to kill Ram and Lakshman and take Sita, he went into his private chambers and he was shaken. He thought, Kar, Dushan, and Trishir, they are as powerful as me. What to speak of those 3, all of those Rakshasas? How is it that one person killed all of them within the span of a couple of hours? So some shock entered his heart, and he began to think, if they are regular princes of the world, then I'll kill them. And he thought, but if that personality Ram is actually Vishnu, then in this body I know I am a demon. I don't actually have any capacity, any adhikar to worship him. But if he is Vishnu, then I will fight him, I will challenge him, and I will die at his hands. This is what he thought. And then he thought, and then I will be liberated. So he thought, win-win. He remembered his uncle, Maricha. Maricha is the son of Taraka and the brother of Subahu. We heard in the beginning how Vishvamitra, he brought Ram and Lakshman to his hermitage to kill Taraka first before they reached that place. Taraka is the mother of Maricha and Subahu. And then he killed Subahu when he was pouring down blood and pus and stool and dead bodies on the yagya of Vishvamitra. And Ram killed Subahu, but he shot an arrow at Marichi and sent him 800 miles away. He landed somewhere very close to Lanka. After that, Maricha realized this is not an ordinary person. It is also said, I don't remember which Shastra, or which, if it was Ramcharitamanas or Valmiki's Ramayana, but it says that there was another time he was attacking sages and he was eating them. He would actually come near them because Rakshasas can change form. Actually, not just Rakshasas. There are 8 different kinds of siddhis. And these mystic siddhis come from austerities, from many thousands of years. There will be any person who wants to become lighter than a feather, or they want to become heavier than a mountain. They can fly in the sky. They can become very, very big, or they can become very, very small. They can pull anything from anywhere that they want. Like we heard how when Bharat came with his army and they were fed, Apsaras came and danced, they were fed all kinds of amazing things. This was due to his austerity, and he had this mystic siddhi to provide for the whole army and all of Ayodhya. Also, they can change into any form they like. They can actually even disappear. They can become smaller than the atom. There's so many different Srila Prabhupada, I was reading it today, he was telling about these mystic siddhis. So we will find that not only the Rakshasas have these siddhis, but also so do the what are they called? Vanaras, the like monkey warriors who are like half human, half monkeyish, but they can change their form. They have these siddhis.
Like Hanuman had those siddhis.
Yes, Hanumanji, Sugriva, all of them have them, but to greater and lesser degrees they'll have them.
Yes.
So Maricha had these siddhis, and so he would attack any rishi who was doing austerities. And one day Ram again shot him, or actually I don't remember if he shot him or he got his friend, and Maricha became afraid. So he went and he became a hermit. He decided, I'm giving up this Rakshasa life. I can't do it anymore. All around him, he was constantly afraid of Ram. So Ravan thought, he's my uncle, my elder uncle. And he's very powerful. If I can get him to do my bidding, then I will be able to take Sita without any problem. So immediately he went to the hermitage of Maricha. Maricha saw him and he offered respect to him. Ravan is the king. He controls all of the devas. He controls everything. So Ravan looks at him and he says, you know, there are 2 brothers, Ram and Lakshman, who are in our forest. Recently they have just killed Kar, Dushan and Trishir, and their whole army of 14,000 Rakshasas. But I've heard about the beauty of Ram's wife, Sita, and I've decided to take her as my own. Immediately, Marichi was like, oh no, this is a very bad idea. Do you know who he is? He is so extraordinary and so powerful. There is no way. You are actually calling upon your own death, even thinking this. Don't think it. Please let this go. Whoever is advising you to do this thing is your enemy. Wow. He said, I have seen him personally. He shot this arrow at me. And then I saw him again and he said, and now I'm in constant fear. Everywhere I look, in every tree and every creeper, what do I see? I see Ram. He's wearing the bark of a tree and he's greenish. So he said, every time I see any tree, I think Ram is coming at me, and the branches of that tree are arrows about to strike me down. He said, I am in so much confusion. I have come here to give up my life remembering the feet of Ram. Ravan thought, what are you doing? Are you mad saying this thing to me? Actually, in one of the Shastras, when I say one of the Shastras, it will be the Ramayana or Ramcharitamanas. And one of those...
Make it clear again that Ramcharitamanas is written by
Tulsidas, who is the
incarnation of Valmiki.
In Kali Yuga. At the time, about 500 years ago. So where was I?
So, you were telling that Maricha was afraid.
So, and that actually, in one of those Shastras, it says that Ravan took his advice and thought, yeah, no point in killing myself, I have a lot to live for. And he hadn't seen Sita yet, so he went back to Lanka. And then again, Surpanak just went at him about he's so weak. He can't even kill 2 humans. He can't even protect his own sister. What kind of king, what kind of demon are you? And then finally he went back to Maricha, and Maricha tried to reason with him again. And at that time, Ravan was furious with him. How dare you say this to me? The fact that you are elder and that you are my uncle is the only reason I'm not killing you now. And he said, so I'm going to give you a choice. Actually, he didn't say that. He said, if you don't do this, if you don't go and bewitch Sita, then I myself will kill you. So that was his choice. But within his mind, Maricha was thinking, I could either be killed by Ravan or I could be killed by Ram. And he was thinking with so much happiness in his heart, I will get the darshan of my best friend. Tulsidas is saying that he's thinking like this, that he is like my Atma Bandhu. He is the best friend of my Atma, and I will be able to leave this sinful body while looking at him and having his darshan.
Wow.
So he immediately said, okay, then I will help you. So they went immediately to go to the cottage of Ram. Maricha took the form of a beautiful golden deer. It is said that he actually looked like gold, and throughout his body it looked like there were priceless gems, and also on its antlers. The description is so beautiful and so enchanting. So Ravan told Maricha, you should go there when Sita is alone and you should enchant her. And when Ram goes, when she will want something, because it says that women like nice things, shiny, sparkly, beautiful things. And as soon as she sees that, she'll want that deer, either as her pet or to take the skin of the deer, because in the forest they would wear deer skin. There were certain deers that were allowed to be killed for those purposes. Anyway, that's a sidetrack thing. But Sita's mood was, if you can't take it alive, then bring it back to me, just the skin, and I will offer it to my mothers when we go back to Ayodhya. So, I already jumped ahead. So anyway, Maricha comes there, and he starts prancing around, and Sita's picking flowers. Finally, she hears something, and she looks up, and she sees the most divine, beautiful creature she's ever seen. Seeing it, she was completely enchanted, and the deer would come near her, and it would move around, and she would see it sparkling and beautiful, and then it would jump away and look at her. She wanted it. She wanted to keep it with her. So she called, Ram, Ram, come quickly. Look, what a beautiful creature. Please catch it for me. I would love to have it as my pet. Lakshman came out with Ram and saw it, and he said, Ram, this creature is too beautiful to be true. When have we ever seen another creature like this? Have we ever seen a deer? We have been everywhere. We have gone to all the hermitages of all of the saints and sadhus and rishis. We have never seen anything like this. This is a trick of a demon. It's trying to do something. Ram, be careful. You should kill it. Ram said, Lakshman, never mind. Sita should have the deer. If it is a creation of a wizard, then I will bring it down with my bow. And then he told him, guard Sita while I'm gone, and on no account must you leave her alone in the forest. And then immediately Ram, he actually had his bow at the ready so that he could shoot the deer. And then the deer began to run off. So what was Maricha doing? He was running a little bit and then stopping and waiting for Ram. And Ram was looking at him going, why is he doing this? Any normal deer will run and run as fast as he can from any hunter. But this deer is waiting for me. But why? it is said that because Maricha kept wanting to have darshan of the Lord, running after him, he was thinking that great sages and mystics, they go through so much austerity just to maybe get a darshan of the tip of his lotus feet. And here he is, that Supreme Lord is running after me. So he's looking at him and watching, and he sees Ram is coming for me, and he's taking in this beautiful darshan of the Lord. And again he would run and bounce and wait and look and have darshan of Ram. Oh, my Lord is coming for me. Finally, after he went quite a distance away, Ram realized, no, this is not normal. So he took his arrow and he let it flow, and immediately it hit its target. At the moment that Maricha was hit, he lost that form of a golden deer and he became this Rakshasa. As he was lying there, having darshan of Ram, what did he do? In Ram's voice, he called, Ram, or Sita, Lakshman, Lakshman, help me, help me. And then, within his mind, meditating on the name of Ram, looking at Ram, he left this world and he went to the eternal abode of the Lord. At that time, Ram became worried. Lakshman was right. Why didn't I listen to him? And he began to run very quickly toward the cottage.
Gopal is asking, how is it possible for a demon to have such devotional thoughts?
Well, it doesn't explain it there, but my own conclusion is that Ram had, well, I have to say something. It doesn't... Well, you can say that in a moment, but from what I have seen, or what I have read, he had darshan of Ram, and then he was sitting in his hermitage, seeing Ram everywhere. So he was becoming more and more purified, meditating on Ram, whether it was in fear, whether it's in anger, whether it's with lust, whether it's with devotion. In whichever way anyone is approaching the Lord will reciprocate. So he was thinking of Ram, having this mood after seeing him, and Ram let him live. So he realized something. I don't know, maybe some of the sages he ate, maybe he got some some prasadam. But that was my conclusion, was that he actually was having darshan of the Lord, meditating on the Lord. Even if it's in fear, somehow or other, it must have been purifying him. Will you come and tell something of Ritrasura, please?
Just quickly.
I have to go for a minute.
Okay. Put the mic down. Here.
Radhe Radhe.
And please forgive me for giving my own conclusion. It was just what I was reading.
So, how can a demon have such thoughts? First of all, demon is an external imposition upon the pure soul. All souls, whether they're in the body of a demon or the body of a devotee or an animal or a tree or an insect or anything, every jiva is in its essence an eternal, loving servant of the Lord. Jivera Swarupa hoy, Krishner Nitya Das. Sometimes, due to aparads or due to any other reason, someone will take the form of a demon, which has happened. Vritrasur, he was previously Chitraketu Maharaj, the god brother of Lord Shiva. And it so happened that one day he was coming past in his aeroplane, Vimana, and he saw Lord Shiva sitting quite naked, with Parvati sitting quite naked on his lap, and Lord Shiva was speaking Bhagavatam to thousands of rishis. And at that moment, Chitraketu Maharaj was so amazed. Wow, look at this! Look at this! Lord Shiva is sitting naked with his wife naked on his lap, and he's giving Bhagavatam class. And she thought he was criticizing Lord Shiva. But Lord Shiva and Chitraketu Maharaj are disciples and servants of Sankarshan Ram. That's why they're always chanting the name of Ram. So, at that point in time, the consort of Mahadev cursed him for criticizing my beloved Lord. You should become a demon. But Chitraketu Maharaj was already a pure devotee. So Lord Shiva said, what have you done? He's a pure devotee. Your curse doesn't have any bearing on him whatsoever. Not only does he not need to accept it, he can throw it right back at you. But anyhow, Chitraketu Maharaj, for the purpose of receiving this curse and for the pastimes, accepted it and became a very, very powerful, big demon, whose name is Vritrasur. Vritrasur was acting in the role of a demon because that's the body he was given. Look at a lion. Do we blame a lion for acting according to its nature? The body it was given, the lion body, has an instinct with it. And what is that instinct? It sees any animal that's in a position to be caught, it jumps after it, rips it apart while it's alive and eats it. It's what it does. And everyone just watches it. No one's going, he's not behaving according to his nature. It is his nature according to that body. A snake has a nature according to its body. A rat has a nature according to its body. Humans have natures according to their bodies and their mindsets. So Vritrasur was also devouring so many, creating so much havoc, fighting with the demigods, and creating a holy hell of a terror in the world. But deep inside, he is a devotee. So what happened? Finally, in the battle between the demigods and the demons, Vritrasur was making such headway on behalf of the demons. Finally, Lord Indra, with his thunderbolt, spent like 100 years or something, a celestial year with his thunderbolt, chopping this Vritrasur apart. Like first cut off his arms and legs, and then was chopping off his head. It took him a whole celestial year. At that point, as Vritrasur is being, as that soul is literally being separated from that body, Vritrasur is remembering his pure internal state and offering the most beautiful prayers to the Lord as he's being killed. All sorts of beautiful prayers are emanating from his mouth, and they are quoted quite frequently from our acharyas. In fact, as this big, massive demon is being beheaded by Indra, by his thunderbolt, what is he saying? He's praying for Gopi Bhav at that moment. So how is it possible that a demon can have this kind of mindset? Because deep inside, all demons even. The most evil person you could ever, the most evil person you can ever think of. You're looking at their external. What's deep inside? Jivera Swarupahoy, Krishner Nityadas. The fact is that Ravana and even in Kumbhakarna are Jaya and Vijay, eternal devotees of the Lord.
Ravan and Kumbhakarna are actually happy to be killed at the hands of Ram.
They prefer to be killed at the hands of the Lord. Ravan was expert in all Shastra. He knows that if you're killed by Vishnu, that you immediately attain liberation. So this Maricha also, he had a choice, Ravan or Vishnu. Well,
he was meditating on.
In Srimad Bhagavatam also, it says, Kamsa attained perfection by meditating on the Lord in fear due to his deep absorption. So, from so many different perspectives based on Shastra, we can understand how even a demon internally can have appreciation for the Lord. And also we understand that demons also can be because they're in the family of demons. Bali Maharaj is also in the family of demons. Vibhishar is also known as a demon. They're in the family of Rakshasas. Prahlad was also born in the family of demons. Bali Maharaj was fighting against the demigods, but because of his connection to Prahlad, he had natural devotion in his heart, and he served Vishnu in the form of Vamandev, knowingly, wanting to, and disregarding the instruction of his guru to do so. And so Bali Maharaj is glorified. So there's so many different conceptions. We should understand that demon might also be the family that one is born into. Prahlad was technically the son of the king of the demons, Hiranyakashipu, but he's also the greatest devotee. So there's so many different conceptions. So now we will continue with Ram Leela. Thank you for that question, though. It was very important and beautiful question.
Thank you. Okay, I hope that was an okay answer. I think it satisfied me, but I don't know about anyone else. It was very good, and it also made me also think that, you know, when we think of demons, yes, Ravan, Maricha, they were very, very powerful, but they were also knowledgeable. They knew Shastra, and they actually saw demigods. They saw Lord Brahma. It wasn't as if they were ignorant. But if you look at those of us in Kali Yuga, we are also like demons. We're considered that within the same body, the demon and the devotee is there. But in general, those who haven't even come in contact with sadhu sangha, you will find that the definition of a demon is within them. They are living the demoniac part, pretty much godless, eating cows, just living for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Eating, meeting.
Always trying to accumulate wealth.
Wealth, yes.
Trying to be the enjoyer.
It's like we're all little demons in Kali Yuga. And it is due to the mercy of the Lord that our hearts have been changed. And it is the same with some of these demons. By the mercy of the Lord, he had darshan of Ram. Somehow or other, a change came in his heart. So I thought it was very, very beautiful, this mood that if I'm going to die anyway, then let it be at the hands of the Lord. And besides, how often is it that the Lord actually kills someone with his own hands?
Right.
What?
Also, in order for that Leela to take place properly, this was absolutely
Necessary, yes.
So he's serving Ram's Leela.
He's
also.
serving. So now, Ram is running back toward the cottage. He knows that now there was a plan to do something. And he was thinking, I hope Lakshman doesn't leave her alone, because he heard that voice calling out, and because he was a Rakshasa and he had Siddhi, he could make his voice be heard very close to the cottage. Whereas if Ram was calling out, saying it's okay, it's a Rakshasa, they wouldn't have heard it, because Ram isn't playing that part. So Ram is running back, trying to stop whatever's about to happen. And Sita, she hears the voice of her beloved Lord calling, help me, Lakshman, help me. And at that time, she said, Lakshman, do you not hear the cry of your brother? Go immediately and help him. He is surely in grave danger. Lakshman said, he can do anything. By just raising his eyebrow, he can create and destroy unlimited universes. Did you not just see him kill that huge horde of Rakshasas by himself, single-handedly? You think he can't kill one demon? Sita looked at him. Oh, now I see. Now I understand. You are a spy of Bharat. You are actually here on his bidding to see what's going on here, and you want to kill Ram. Lakshman was, how can you say such a thing? She said, I know that you want him to die. You have served us all these years, simply waiting for your chance to take me as your own. Lakshman couldn't believe that Sita, who he sees like a mother, was saying this to him. He said, your words are cruel and unjust. He had this mood in his heart that was like pierced. He felt that his heart was pierced with like an arrow of fire. He was so wounded, and she kept yelling at him, you want this, you want to take me. How could you be so cruel-hearted? Finally, Lakshman could hear no more. He said, my brother told me not to leave you alone, but your words are so cruel and so unjust that I can't hear them anymore. So he made a special mantra, and he took his bow And he went around the cottage in the sand, going around the cottage in Sita. And he said, I have created a protection around you. And don't step over this. Otherwise, anyone can come and attack you. But if you are here, then you are safe. And then immediately, Lakshman ran to find Ram.
He had never even looked beyond her.
That comes later.
Okay. Take it.
So, as soon as Lakshman ran away, looking for Ram, Ravan came out. He was dressed in the garb of a holy person, and he was chanting sacred mantras. He was actually chanting to Shiva. Coming out, Sita saw, oh, there is a sadhu who has come here. And she thought, you know, what should I do? Maybe I should bring him some water. And he saw that when she went in the house to go and get water or fruit for him, he went to try to go toward the cottage, but something like an electricity or like a burning fire stopped him and he jumped back. So he realized that there was some kind of protection there. So he moved back. Sita Devi came out and she tried to hand him some water, some refreshment. And he said, oh, I'm too old, I'm too tired, I can't come for it. And she didn't want to go over that Lakshman Rekha. But what happened, he said, she thought, if I don't do it, he may curse me. He may curse me that my husband will die or anything inauspicious. And she thought, he's a holy man, it's no problem. So she crossed over that. And then she went to give him this refreshment. At that time, Ravan said, how did he start? Oh, beautiful lady, why are you living here, alone in the forest, full of man-eating demons and fierce beasts, dressed in simple clothes and living like a pauper? You belong in a palace, served by thousands of maidservants who will adorn you with fine clothes and jewels. Then he showed who he was. He said, do not stay with this wretched Ram. Come with me, Ravan. Come to my palace in Lanka, and there I will serve you hand and foot. Come with me and be my bride. Sita Devi was shaking, trembling, unbelievably afraid, but from her mouth so much power, so much Shakti came out. She said, how dare you? What? Not yet.
Okay. So much power came from her mouth.
So much power came out. And she started to yell at him, how dare you? You come here when I'm alone and unprotected, and you try to come after me. What kind of person are you? And she was fighting with her words. And Ravan was trying to coax her, but finally he just thought, they're going to come back. Very soon Ram and Lakshman are going to understand. I have no time to deal with this. At that time he grabbed her by the hair and around her waist, and he took her and brought her in his chariot. His chariot was the pushpaka. Is that how it's called?
I don't know. Pushpak? Made of flowers?
It was Kuvera's pushpak. Anyway, it could fly in the sky. It was drawn by mules that could fly in the sky. So Ravan took her in that, and he began to fly away with her, holding on to her, and she was trying to get away and hitting him and screaming for Ram and Lakshman to help her. At that time, Jatayu, you remember yesterday we spoke about his Ram's or Dasarath's very old ancient friend. He's like an eagle or a vulture. He was sitting in the tree and he heard Sita Devi crying. Immediately he flew out and started to see, and he saw Ravan carrying her away. At that time, he challenged Ravan. What kind of a fool are you? How dare you take the wife of another? And so he began to fight with Ravan. In Tulsidasa's Ramayana it says that somehow or other he had Sita removed and put down so that he could fight with Ravan. And he began to fight with him, scratching at him, biting at him, ripping his skin off. And finally, after a very huge and lengthy fight, to where Jatayu even destroyed the chariot, and it fell to the ground, and Ravan crashed to the ground. Lying on the ground, Ravan had had too much. He took his sword and he chopped off the wings and the feet of Jatayu, who fell on the ground. Sita was weeping and crying over Jatayu. Ravan grabbed her, and we already know these Rakshasas have these mystic siddhis. So taking her, he had his mystic siddhi bring him to Lanka. Meanwhile, Ram and Lakshman had met each other. Ram was running toward the cottage, and Ram was running toward... And Lakshman was running toward where he heard the voice of Ram. Ram saw him and he said, "Oh Lakshman, tell me you didn't leave Sita alone." Lakshman said, "I had no choice. I had no choice. You don't know the things that she was saying to me." And he said, "Oh, how could you do it? You already knew that that was a Rakshasa, that it was a Mayak personality, and yet you left her alone." He said, "I created a very sacred and very protective circle around her. There's no way anyone can come in there." And he thought, "Oh, I fear that something has happened, that she has been taken by a Rakshasa or even eaten by them." So at this point, I want to bring up a very important point that our Gurudev would always speak. When he would speak of this Leela, especially when Ram is trying to tell, or Lakshman is trying to tell Ram, "It was her harsh words that drove me away. I never would have left her alone, but I couldn't bear it." Our Gurudev said that she was taken by Ravan because she didn't control her speech. He said the whole Mahabharat, that whole battle was fought because Draupadi did not control her speech. When she saw Duryodhan walking in their house at Indraprasth, their palace, Maya made that palace. Mayadanava. He had made that palace for them. And so somewhere where it looked like carpet, in those places, sometimes it was like water. And if somebody was jealous or had envy or greed against the Pandavas, then they would be tricked. So Ravan was walking. Duryodhan was walking, and he thought it was a carpet, and he fell in. At that time, Draupadi was standing there and started laughing. "Oh, the son of a blind man is also blind." She didn't control her speech. Do you want to speak a little on Vachovegam?
You can continue. It's not so long.
So our Gurudev would say, because of this, these two horrific...
No. Duryodhan's heart became so insulted, he decided he just couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, don't speak it. Come on.
2 minutes.
It's important. These are important teachings.
Duryodhan, upon hearing this mocking of him, "Oh, the son of a blind man is also blind," it insulted him so much, especially because, well, he was a very, very powerful warrior king. And she was mocking him, laughing at him. It really, really pierced his heart, insulted him. And that's when he decided that he was going to really go against the Pandavas. That's when he decided he wanted to do whatever he could to insult her back. That's why he made that plan with the dice of Shakuni and wanted to strip her. He was hitting his thigh in front of her husband's and saying, "Come sit on my lap," really insulting her. Because she did not control her tongue, what came as a result? Now, you can say, well, why blame her, this or that? But this is what our acharyas have seen, that due to lack of control of the vacho vegam, millions and millions may have to die. And the lesson is also for us. So we've seen it as well in Ram Lila, where Sita was saying these very, very terrible things to Lakshman. Lakshman never looked upon her, only saw, this is like my mother, always respected and honored her, and never had any mundane thought whatsoever. But the fact that she was not controlling her tongue and said all of these very harsh things to him. Really terrible. Oh, you want him to die. You're a spy of Bharat. You want Ram to be finished. You want to take me. You want to enjoy this body. That's why you're doing that. You want to take me for yourself. Really, really demeaning and insulting things. So Lakshman was completely like, how could he digest such a thing? So he had to leave. And so our Gurudev was showing, look at how many millions had to die in the Mahabharata war. How many millions had to die in the Ramayana battle.
One thing that should be understood, that it's not actually a blame. These are lessons. Even Ram's weeping and crying for Sita, Gurudev said is a lesson, not to be too attached. So we should also have that in our minds when we're hearing these kathas, that these are lessons for us to learn from.
Yes. This is Lakshmi Devi, more than Lakshmi Devi, herself, Sita Devi. She's the eternal consort of Sri Ram. And so why is she manifesting this pastime? It is the Lord and His own Shakti, which are non-different, manifesting so many lessons. Ram is Maryada Purushottam, not only through himself, but also through his brothers, through his consorts, through Sita Devi. He's showing so many valuable lessons, teaching the world what kind of things we should be careful for. So seeing these harsh words of Sita,
seeing the result.
And the result of that, how it drove Lakshman, this enabled her to be caught by Ravan and what came afterward, then it is a lesson for all of us. It's not that she is controlled by any of this, but we are. And so we should see, first instruction of Rupa Goswami, Bacho Vegam, zip it. Control the urge to speak. What does that mean? Anything which is not related to bhakti, to Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas, even joking slightly about someone, can really pierce their heart. It can create such a terrible situation. And so Vacho Vega means what is only for the service of Hari, Guru, Vaishnavas. Then I should utilize my speech for this, glorifying the Lord, His names, His forms, His qualities and pastimes. Only by that can the urge of speech be controlled. But you see how many battles have been fought simply because somebody said something. All it takes is one word. He's a fool. Just like that. Then this ego will boost and then they will fight against each other. He'll say back, you're a fool. We see it also even now in political big countries. This one, oh, he's a this, he's a that, he's a this, he's a that. The U.S. is saying this about China. China is saying this about the U.S. How dare you tell us about, controlling our people or what we do. Look at what you're doing to your people. And then they start escalating. One starts saying another thing. One starts saying another. So this Bacho Vegam creates all the problems of this world, especially sound pollution, lies, duplicity, cheating and everything. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam that Mother Earth can tolerate almost anything, but cannot bear the weight of a lie. And that is why so many natural catastrophes take place. So much lying and cheating and duplicity. So Vacho Vegam is the first instruction given by Rupa Goswami. Control the urge to speech. We don't know how, what do they call it? The butterfly effect. One harsh criticism, and then it turns into something else, and it amplifies more and more until it creates utter destruction. So what is the remedy for that? The ultimate anti-pollution. The ultimate pollution is nonsense sound vibration. The ultimate anti-pollution is transcendental sound vibration. Harinam Sankirtan.
Okay. Can everyone hear me okay when I'm speaking? I hope.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, actually, you're going to have to sit back down in a minute.
No worries.
So Ram comes back and he's searching everywhere. Where is Sita? Where is Sita? He's crying, going here and there. What has happened to her? He comes to the hermitage and he realizes she's been gone. They start searching everywhere. Lakshman goes to the river on the order of Ram to see if she's gone there to pick flowers. All of a sudden they see her broken flowers, some ornaments that have fallen on the ground. And Ram is thinking, surely she's been attacked and killed. Surely she's been eaten. As they're searching and going further and further, they see the dying Jatayu. Immediately Ram ran to him and started touching his head. And at that time, all pain left the body of Jatayu. Ram asked, who did this? Who did this? And Jatayu said, it was Ravan. It was the 10-headed demon king himself. He flew away toward the south, taking Sita with him. And then he told him, don't worry, you will see her again, you will find her. And then he told Ram that he should go toward a specific place, the ashram of Shabari, that he should go in that direction and she can help him to find Sita. What direction that Ravan went. At that time, he asked permission to leave his body, to leave this world. And Ram was weeping and weeping and saying the name of Ram, looking upon the face of Ram. Jatayu left this world. Ram and Lakshman, considering him like a father, in Tulsidasa's Ramayan, Ram is saying father to him. Oh, Father, who did this? Father, Father. And so because of that, they cremated him and did the last rites for him. And they were weeping and weeping. Ram began to become like confused, like a madman, crying and searching everywhere for Sita. So when you read the Ramcharitamanas, you actually see that it is a conversation between Shiva and Parvati. And Lord Shiva is explaining everything that's going on. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because there is a history of how Parvati actually came to be the wife of Shiva and who she was in her previous birth in Treta Yuga at the time of Lord Ram. She started becoming confused because Mahadev was continuously chanting Ram, Ram and glorifying Ram. He was overwhelmed with all of the pastimes that Ram was doing, and they were watching. And they saw how Sita had been kidnapped and the reaction of Ram. So Kishori is going to continue.
Tell about the reaction of Ram.
Ram was like a madman. He lost his intelligence. And he was crying and weeping, going to the deers, going to the trees, going to the birds. He lost all sense. And he was crying and absolutely inconsolable. And our Gurudev also said that here, what is the teaching? Ram is showing that we should not be overly attached, that we lose our intelligence, that we lose our sanity. Ram actually lost his mind in deep separation from Sita. And he was crying like a madman. And Lakshman was trying to console him and tell him, we'll find her, let's go, let's do something productive. But Ram could not. He was going everywhere, the trees, where did she go, who took her, and weeping and crying. So at that time, Sati became very confused. And she began to doubt. Sorry, I would think we should have like two mics and sit next to each other. Uh-oh, they said it's frozen.
Who said it's frozen?
It's not on this side.
No, only Rudra's frozen. Still good here. Okay, take it. So,
this is the history of why her name is Sati. So, Mahadev and his consort are watching, are witnessing this pastime of Ram, weeping and crying in separation from Sita, inconsolably, completely devastated, weeping and searching everywhere. And she couldn't understand, why, O Patidev, are you calling him Bhagavan? Even I know, we know what's going on. Why do you keep saying that he's Bhagavan? Why is he weeping like this for his wife? We know what happened. And you're saying he's Bhagavan? And Mahadev said, if you don't believe me, then you can test him. She said, no, I believe you.
You're my guru.
You are my husband, you are my guru, of course I believe you. So I don't need to test him. Then Mahadev went into deep internal absorption and meditation on Ram. At that time, his beloved consort went to test Ram. Ram is calling, Sita, Sita, oh Sita, where are you, where are you? Going from tree to tree, animal to animal, everywhere, just crying, where are you, where are you? And Sati took the form of Sita and stood in front of Ram. I'm here, I'm here. And he turned and walked the other way. Sita, where are you, Sita? And she would stand in front of him. I'm here, I'm here. Looks just like Sita. Here I am. Again and again. At a certain time, Ram said, oh mother, please don't disturb my pastimes. Don't disturb my Leela. And she was like, oh my God. So at that moment, then she saw that in every leaf, every flower, every particle in all existence, she saw Sita and Ram. She realized, uh-oh, this is Bhagavan. And he's there with her everywhere. So this is just the pastime of the Lord. And so he's like, oh mother, please don't disturb my Leela. So she went back to Mahadev. What happened? Mahadev, when he woke up from his meditation and trance, of course he knew everything. He could see everything, past, present, and future. He said, so did you test him? She said, no, I didn't need to. I trusted you, I believed you. From that moment on, Mahadev did not treat her as his wife, because she had taken the form of his mother, Mahadev's mother, Sita. He sees Ram as his Lord, therefore he's seeing the Lord and his consort like his eternal parents, you can say, Mother Sita. Then he did not treat his wife as a wife. Instead of keeping her on his left side, as one would keep their Shakti on the left side, he would only sit with her facing opposite him, sitting across from him like his mother. Didn't touch her, treated her only with that kind of respect. You took the position of Sita. Not only that, she had made some aparad. One, she didn't trust the words of her guru or her husband, Lord Shiva. Two, she actually went and tried to test Ram. That's his Ishtadev. Three, she came back and she lied to her husband. No, I didn't need it. I didn't need it. So because Mahadev...
She had remorse for it though.
She did have remorse. But because Mahadev would not treat her as his wife from that point on. And when she had gone to her father, Daksha's yajna, where they disrespected and criticized Lord Shiva, she thought, my husband won't treat me as his wife. My father is a maha aparadi against my husband. I have no reason to maintain this body. So that's when she committed sati. By the yogic power within her, she self-immolated. And this is the first sati we know of in history. That's where the term comes from. And then she was again remanifest as Parvati. And there's a whole history. It's all, is it there in Ramcharitmanas?
Yes, it's at the beginning of Ramcharitmanas.
So the whole history is there in the beginning of Ramcharitmanas. How again she came back with Lord Shiva. One interesting little tidbit of information. One time she asked Lord Shiva, why do you have a garland of skulls around your neck? And Lord Shiva said, they're your skulls from all of your previous births. She said, yeah, but I'm your eternal consort and you're eternal, so why do I keep having to take birth again and again? And Lord Shiva said, whoever hears Srimad Bhagavatam through and through they never have to take birth again. She said, but I've heard Bhagavatam so many times. He said, but you keep falling asleep. So because you fall asleep, when he was telling the pastimes of Krishna, the 10th canto, at that time she would be wide awake, but when he was telling all of the very difficult tattva and siddhanta and everything, she would doze off. He said, so you keep having to be reborn, but I've kept all of your skulls for all of these lifetimes. So that's one. Anjali's right, spooky.
So, Ram and Lakshman continued on, and Ram became somewhat pacified, understanding first who took Sita and which way they went. Ramcharitamanas explains that when Ram was asking the deer, and he was asking the trees and the creepers, it is said that the deer would look at him and look toward the south. They didn't know what to do, but they were trying to tell him, and they were turning their heads like that. And Ram could understand. Lakshman also, they were saying, oh, it seems as if they're trying to tell us to go south. And then they found Jatayu, and Jatayu sent them on toward Shabari. So we know that Shabari was waiting for a very, very long time. Her guru, maybe anyone knows the name, it starts with an M. I forgot, but as he was leaving...
I'll just keep my eye here. What's the name of the guru of Shabari? Oh, Rudra.
As her guru, she was considered...
Mandata?
Her name is Shabari because she comes from a certain kind of forest caste called Shabaras. And they called her Shabari to make it so that really she's a low-class woman. But her guru, because Matangarishi, because she was such a great devotee, and she was so devoted to Ram and was always serving. When her guru was leaving, he said to her, very soon Ram will come here, and you should serve him, you should honor him, and then you can leave. So from that day, she was waiting, always clearing and cleaning the path, waiting for Ram, calling the name of Ram. She would go and she would pick fruit, and she would sit down and wait for Ram to come. Now we talked about this recently, but it's important to bring it up again. We hear that she was tasting the fruit, sitting in front of Ram, making sure it was sweet, and putting it in his mouth. And Ram was accepting it. Our Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, explained that this can never be, that Ram is Maryada Purushottam. He is rules and regulations, and he doesn't transgress dharma. He's immovable. We heard yesterday or the day before how he's like a mountain, and even an ocean can drown him, but he will not move. So Gurudev said that actually only Krishna breaks all of these types of rules. He can eat something from the left hand of one of his sakhas who had already eaten from that. He will do all kinds of these very, very intimate kinds of leelas, but not Ram. From the moment that Ram appeared in Ayodhya, they knew he was Bhagavan. And so they treated him very, very carefully with love and affection, but also they were careful. In Vrindavan, no one thought Krishna was Bhagavan. And so they thought, he is my friend. And oh, this is so good. Here, try that. So Gurudev said, only with Krishna will this happen. So why are millions, billions saying that this Leela happened? Our Gurudev explained that back in Treta Yuga, if anybody would take even some fruit off a tree and not offer it, but taste it, then that whole tree would be considered unofferable. it's been touched and taken by someone. So rishis and sadhus, and they wouldn't take from that place because it's untouchable. Someone has eaten from it. How can I now offer it to the Lord? Nowadays we can look at it like if we have lunch and we decide, oh, maybe Thakurji would like some, so I'll go give it to them. Kind of something like that. We would never do that.
Like just taking a little bit out of the pot and then offering it. You're not going to take a little bit of the same thing out of the pot at another time after you've eaten.
After you've eaten it, you don't offer it again. So in the same way, this was considered untouchable afterwards. So when Ram came there and Lakshman, she washed their feet. She welcomed them. She brought them all kinds of roots and fruits and beautiful refreshments. And at that time, Ram accepted that, not tasted by her mouth and then given to him, but previously she would go to any tree to see if the fruit was ripe, if it was sweet, if it was offerable, and then she offered those to Ram.
So is Ram bending Maryada a little bit to accept that fruit, even though that fruit wasn't directly touched by her mouth?
Because she's his devotee, he becomes just like he accepted the kingdom. Okay, I accept the kingdom, I'm the king, and now I'm making you, Bharat, in charge. My first duty, my first thing as the king is I'm making you the head person. So in one way, you can say he's breaking it a little bit so that he could still do what he had to do.
So he's bending the rules a little bit, not technically breaking.
Not technically.
Right. So he was accepting fruit from the tree that she had tasted from before, but not directly taking the fruit that she was eating from.
Yes. So then she began to glorify Lord Ram, and she was saying that I am the lowest of the low. I am a very lowly woman from a low caste, and I really don't have any right to come near you, but you are my life, you are my Lord, you are my everything. And Sri Ram began to tell her about different processes of attaining him and of devotion. And he explained to her that there is no caste, there is no creed when it comes to devotion. And we see that Ram is showing this again and again and again. And Lord Vishnu and Lord Krishna, they are accepting the love of that devotee, not worried about their caste. So with Ram we see monkeys, kind of vanaras, half monkey, half man, bears, Garuda, so Jatayu, Rakshasas. So we see that Ram is not considering, oh, you're from a high-class family, so you are able to worship me, or I will accept something from you. So Ram instructed her that more than all of that, that means nothing. What means something to me is devotion. So then, finally, Shabari asked, now that I've seen you and I've had your darshan, there's nothing else to attain. I know you're going to go, so please allow me to leave. And so she also left this world.
You said previously that they were told, Ram and Lakshmana were told that if they went to Shabari, that then they would be able to find their way.
They asked her, and she told them to go to, maybe someone knows, a particular river where Hanumanji and Sugriva are staying.
So she pointed them in the next direction.
Yes, yes,
okay.
just in the particular, it was a river, starts with a P. So she told them to go there. So one thing that's very interesting is around this time when Ram is still really in this mood of separation from Sita and weeping, Nard Muni happens to come upon and see him. Nard Rishi becomes very worried in his heart. He saw Lord Ram crying and weeping in separation from Sita. And he thought, he's undergoing this because of me. I caused this to happen. And so he went to Lord Ram and he sat down with him and they began to converse. So I don't know if you know the history, but I'll tell it very quickly. One day, I guess it was Lord Shiva who told Nard to go to a particular place to do austerity. And as he was doing these austerities, Nard Rishi was becoming more and more and more powerful. So Indra and the demigods were becoming worried. Indra's thinking, he's going to try and take my place. He wants to be me. So he sent Vayu, the wind god. He sent Surya, the sun god. He sent Varuna, the god of water, everyone to go and to harass Nard Muni. And he was undaunted, continuing doing his penance. Then they thought, oh, I know what to do. They sent Kamadev, basically, to go and to disturb him.
Who's that? The personification?
Cupid.
Yes.
So Kamadev actually went there with so many heavenly nymphs, having them dance around him, strut their stuff around him. Who are the topmost? Urvashi and Menaka. They were there and they were trying to attract Nard Muni. Now we know that great rishis have broken their trances and have become shocked by seeing this sight.
Simply by the sound of the ankle bells.
Or them playing with balls and flowers and dancing around, they break their ruts, their concentration, and become attracted. But Nard Muni was staunch. He was unaffected by it. Everyone was shocked. And Nard Muni himself became pretty happy about the situation. So immediately he ran to Lord Shiva. He said, guess what? I've conquered lust. Lord Shiva said, that's amazing. That's absolutely wonderful. Whatever you do, don't tell Vishnu. No problem. Then he went to Brahmaji. Brahmaji, guess what? I have conquered lust. Brahmaji, very good. Whatever you do, don't tell Vishnu. Nard Muni went and he saw Lord Vishnu and he said, guess what? I have conquered lust. Vishnu said, that's amazing, well done. And then, to break the pride of his devotee and more, he helped him to understand that he could become under that illusion. So what happened? He created this beautiful city. The springtime was there. Everything was beautiful. And his own Shakti, Lakshmi Devi, took a form. And Nard became so attracted to her. He fell completely in love and he thought, I want to marry her. Immediately he ran to Vishnu and said, I need to marry this beautiful girl. I need to marry this princess. I want to be very beautiful. Make me the most handsome. Make me like you, so beautiful and handsome. And he said, I want to be as beautiful as Hari. So he said, okay, so be it. You can be as beautiful as Hari. And then Nard went down to the Swayamvar. He was standing there with the garland on, his chest puffed out. She's going to...
So there was a Swayamvar?
Yes. She's going to put the garland on me. Lord Shiva's, some of his sevaks were there and they were laughing at Nard Muni. And even the princess herself looked at him and kind of giggled. And Nard Muni's like, what's going on? You know, everyone was kind of looking at him and laughing. And every time she would go past him, he'd go down the road, down the line and wait and kind of look at her like, look at me, I'm Hari, I'm so beautiful. She kind of laughed and kept going. Finally, she took the garland and garlanded someone. He looked and he saw it was Vishnu. And he became so angry. Vishnu got on Garuda with his bride, Lakshmi, and flew away. Nard went to him. He was so angry. He said, I only wanted this one thing. I've never asked you for anything. And I asked you to make me like Hari, beautiful. And what did you do? They all told him, after the Swayamvar, they told him, go look in the mirror. And they saw that he was given the face of a monkey. And so he was so angry. He went to the Lord and he said, because you have done this, because you have separated me from my desire, you will be separated from your wife and you will suffer. And you will only have monkeys as company. And the Lord said, so be it, I accept. So now they're in the forest. And
what was the lesson in that?
1 minute. Now they're in the forest. And Naradji is sitting there with Ram and they're speaking. And then Naradji broaches the subject and he said, "My Lord, I know that I gave this curse and that you have accepted it. But what I'm wondering is why? Why did you do that? Why did you make my face like a monkey's when you said you would do it?" And immediately Ram said, "Well, another name for monkey is Hari." He said, "So I gave you the face of Hari." And Nard Muni was like, "Ha ha." So then Lord Ram began to explain. He said, if a mother has a little baby, she so loves it so much and she protects it with her life. She's always concerned for it and caring for it. But when that baby is grown and he's a man, that love is different. She doesn't have that same protection. She doesn't have that same concentration on him. And he said, my devotees are like this. Some have completely surrendered to me and they have taken shelter of me. So I feel this mood of parental mamata for them. And I take them and I take responsibility for them. And some, by the strength of their austerity, by the power of their concentration, by the power of their own Shakti, they try to grasp me. And he said, those are like the adults. They're kind of on their own, but I'm aware of them. And when they come to me, I reciprocate. But those who surrender to me, I take responsibility for them. I take that very seriously. So he said, you are that kind. You're like my own baby, my child. And I have this mood to you because you were going away from me and you were going into a dangerous situation. I had to protect you as any parent would do. And at that moment, Nard Rishi became so melted. He became so happy. Oh, Jai Ram, Narayan, Narayan. He was so happy. Then again, Ram entered into his mood of separation.
That's where that verse is mentioned in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Can you come here and speak it? I can just move over a little.
No, just really quickly. That verse mentioned in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Oh, this is off.
It's not really off. From any, it's from Ramayana, where Rama is saying, if anyone just once says, I am yours, that I will fully give that person shelter and give them all protection. So that verse is based on what you just told.
Right, and just like Narottam is saying, if anyone will even once say, hey Gauranga, oh Gauranga, he said, I beg for their company. And you know, we may actually say something like that, like I am the most sincere and serious student. From this day, I am yours. We might not actually have that full conviction, but as Kishori Mohan Prabhu always says, it's like positive affirmation. It's like, I am your servant. I have nothing but you. And this is actually the nature of every Jivatma. We just are so covered in this mood like Nard Rishi. He didn't realize that he was covered by Vishnu's Maya. We are also covered by Maya, but eternally we are the servants of Krishna. So the next thing that happens, I just need to get to Hanumanji and then we will continue tomorrow. So Ram and Lakshman go to the river that starts with a P. And it's in this place, actually it gets explained to Ram later, but Sugriva, he's a monkey warrior and he's there with only 4 of his ministers and people. He's living in a mountain there. And from a distance, they see Ram and Lakshman coming and they're a little bit worried. Sugriva's looking and he's saying, look at them. They look like they are sadhus. They're dressed in tree bark and they look like rishis, but they're carrying bows and arrows. And look at how strong they are. They're like lions among men. How beautiful, how strong, how attractive. They were all thinking something is wrong here. Something doesn't measure up. There is no rishi that looks like them. So Sugriva said, Hanuman, Go there in a disguise and find out if they are my enemy. They might have been sent by my elder brother Vali, and they might be coming to try to kill me. Vali himself can't come to this mountain, but he can send any enemy to try to kill me. So go and suss them out. So Hanumanji quickly came in the vicinity of Ram and Lakshman, and he took the form of a Brahmin.
So he could disguise himself.
Hanumanji can also disguise himself.
Wow.
Usually he does so as a Brahmin.
Okay.
So he came in front of Ram and Lakshman, and he offered his respects to them. And he began to glorify them. Oh, who are you? You are so extraordinary and so beautiful. Your beautiful lotus eyes. Everything about you is so completely enchanting. But I'm confused. Are you warriors? Are you Kshatriyas? Or are you forest dwellers? Are you rishis? Who are you? But he was speaking so enchantingly that Ram and Lakshman were so charmed. Immediately Lakshman began to explain, we are the sons of Dasarath, and we have been sent, my brother Ram has been sent to the forest for 14 years. We've been moving in the forest all this time, and just recently Ram's wife Sita has been kidnapped by a demon king, Ravan. And now that has brought us here to you. We are looking for her. Actually, we're looking for someone named Sugriva. We were told that he could help us.
Mm-hmm.
Lakshman Hanuman, immediately when he was told the history of Ram, it was like an awakening. He realized who he was and who Ram was. He said, my Lord, forgive me. Your Maya is so powerful that I didn't recognize you. You are my eternal Lord, and I am your eternal servant. Sorry. And again, he was glorifying Lord Ram. Ram became so happy seeing his eternal beloved Hanuman. Hanumanji said, please let me carry you. Get on my shoulders, both you and Lakshman, and I will take you to Sugriva. So they both climbed on Hanuman's shoulders, and he became like their Garuda.
Did he already change form back to
Yes, he showed who he was. Because look at, this is me. I'm your eternal servant. And they recognized each other. So many times through Leelas, and even we can see with our Acharyas, they always say, oh, I didn't know who he was. We heard so many say this about our Srila Prabhupada. They knew him. They knew him for 50 years before he went to the West. And he was doing so much, learning English, giving lectures in English, preparing for what he was going to do. But they didn't recognize him until it became manifest. He showed himself, and they go, that's who he is. He's the one who's fulfilled the mission, or the prediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that his name would be chanted in every town and village. So in the same way, so that the Lord can perform his Leela, so many of his parikar don't recognize him. So Hanumanji finally recognizes, you are my eternal Lord, and I am your eternal servant. So then he carried them to Sugriva. And upon meeting Sugriva, they embraced each other. Ram embraced Sugriva. And they immediately made this pact that we will be friends and we will help each other. We will get to that tomorrow because it goes into so much more Leela. But I will just end with saying they actually did a little fire yajna, and they held each other's hands, and they made promises to each other that we will be the dearest friends. We will be honest with each other. And Ram ends up discussing what an actual friend is. He's telling one should be a friend with one who isn't duplicitous. One should only be a friend with one who is honest, who actually he was saying a friend is one who sees their friend suffering, and seeing that suffering, they consider it more than all of their suffering, even if it is nothing. And that they see that, I forget
so
it.
they want to help their friend even over and above
Yes,
their own suffering,
yes.
because they feel that even a little bit of their friend's suffering is more than all of their
Yes,
suffering combined.
yes, it was really beautiful how he was explaining it.
Almost like an emergency.
Yes.
Wow.
Even if it's a small thing in comparison to what we are going through, if we see our friend suffering, then it should be like the Himalayas to us, and we should take care of our friend in that way. Wow. That it is more important to me than my life. This is a friend, and a friend is very rare indeed.
A friend in need is a friend indeed.
So at that time,
Sugriva.
Sugriva and Ram made this pact with each other, and Sugriva had Ram sit next to him, and Hanuman immediately made a place for Lakshman to sit, and they were sitting in front of a fire, and they began to tell each other about their lives and how they are in need of each other. This is like Dadati pratigrinyati guyamakyati prichite bhungte bo jayate chaivam sadvida pritilakshanam. And we will continue tomorrow. I'm sorry it's taking so long. I'm not sorry for me, because it's so
I'm not sorry for me either.
exciting and enchanting. But I actually thought that we were getting to the building of the bridge today. I actually thought that.
We got to Hanuman today. Pavan Putra Hanuman.
Ki Jai! So, my Dandavat Pranam, thank you for engaging me in this most beautiful Leela of Sri Ram. I'm meditating so much on these beautiful pastimes, reading so much from our Gurudev and our Guru Varg. It's so inspiring, and so many lessons are there. And throughout these readings and also recitations telling these beautiful kathas, we're remembering so many of the teachings of our Gurudev. All of these beautiful leelas I told tonight were told by our Gurudev about Shiva and Parvati or Sati, about Hanuman, or not Hanuman, about Narji and the monkey face. So many of these leelas and lessons are there that our Gurudev taught us. And as I'm reading Ramcharitamanas, I'm seeing my Gurudev everywhere. So I feel so grateful and so happy that I'm getting to see what was inspiring our Gurudev and how he was sharing all of this with us for so many years. So it's bringing me closer and closer to the heart of our Gurudev as well. And Rudragupta, I saw earlier that you asked a question, does this mean that our Gurudev has a form in Ram Leela as well? And I don't know. I know that in every Leela of the Lord, all of their parikar go with them. So
they manifest.
They manifest.
Queens and Dwarka are manifestations of the gopis.
Yes,
in
and also we know that even the demigods took birth as the monkeys and the bears and all of those who were going to be helping Lord Ram. So we know there are so many things that lead up to this, but at the same time we know that the demigods and also the parikars of the Lord always go and they help him do his Leela. Otherwise he'll just be alone, and that won't be fun for him. So I don't know the yes or no answer to that question, but the Lord is always with his parikar. He is always with his bhaktas. But I know for sure and for certain in that very topmost Leela of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan, our Gurudev is present there. So my Dandavat Pranam to all of you. See you tomorrow.
Wow. We met Hanuman today. How beautiful is that? I was thinking, you know, as one is progressing on the path of devotion, it may be that we have already done so much austerity or made so much endeavor on so many paths. To come to the path of Krishna Bhakti and to have faith in the name of Krishna as the topmost. Bhagavatam says that one has already undergone all kinds of austerities. One has gone to all of the holy places of pilgrimage. One has bathed in all of the holy rivers. One has studied all Shastras, all scriptures. They have already done everything else. They have already practiced. You got the light on.
Oh.
They've already practiced every other. Nope. It's just going to stay on. There it is. They've already practiced and done every other thing that there is to be done by the time one comes to the point of having faith in the holy names of Krishna. So, like we've seen even in the history of Gop Kumar was the king of Puri. Gop Kumar, where did he go? He went to Brahma Jyoti. He became Brahma. He became a Rudra. He entered Brahma Jyoti. Then he went to Vaikuntha. From Vaikuntha,
He became Indra too. He became everybody.
Yeah, he was Indra. He became Brahma.
The king of Jagannath Puri. I'm going down in
Yeah, I'm going the other way. And then he went to Vaikuntha. From there he went to Ayodhya. From there, this all aprakat. From there he went to transcendental Dwaraka. From there he came to Bhoma Vrindavan and continued doing his sadhan bhajan to attain perfection. And from there he realized his eternal relationship with Krishna as a cowherd boy. So it may be that so much has already been studied in previous lives we don't know. We may have been those sages sitting on the banks of the Ganga near the burning ghats under the hot sun praying for the benefit of the world with the long matted hair and those nails. Maybe we have done that in the previous lifetimes. We don't know. But according to Shastra, if one has faith in the names of Krishna, then they have already undertook every other kind of vrat. And that means that we are so close. So don't stop. Keep running.
And don't be hopeless.
Never be hopeless. So Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai.
Thank you for staying all this time. I know it's really long.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Gaura Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Gurudev ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Rupa Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai, Patipavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki Jai, Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki Jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki Jai, Madhavati Ekadashi ki Jai, Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrind ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Govinda Dam Madhaveti, Govinda Dam Madhaveti, Govinda Dam Madhaveti, Govinda Dam.
Vinod Bihari Ju ki
Jai.
Jai Jai
Shri
Shri Radhe.
Radhe.
Jai Jai Shri
Come on,
Radhe.
focus.
Jai Jai Shri Radhe.
Shyam.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bo.
So thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and Guru Varga and to keep our minds absorbed in the leelas of the Lord. Also, we cannot express our indebtedness enough to each of you for daily giving us the opportunity to follow the order of our Gurudev, which is our life and soul. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna.
Radhe Radhe.
Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Sachinandana
Gaurari ki Jai. Chidiyaamo domani hastamanyana kal milenge Radhe Radhe Shyam. Good morning.